Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
Fighting the ongoing winds of change like Jasmine Crockett's eyelashes battling a windstorm. It's O'Connor and Company, waking you up the only way we know how, with a smirk and a rage. Coming up at 6:35, Cal Thomas will be here. 7:05, Byron York will bring some class to the proceedings. 8:05, talk about class. He's the chairman of Ways and Means. He's Congressman Jason Smith of Big Mo. It's Missouri. It's the show me state. 8:35, Zach Smith of Heritage. It's Larry O'Connor alongside Julie Gunlock. Is that the correct pronunciation? I want to get this ethnically
Absolutely
appropriate.
right.
I don't want to offend.
Yep, that's
it's
it.
Gunlock.
Yep, thank you. Thank you for that.
Gunlock.
Might want to wipe
off
your
my
microphone.
microphone now. Yeah, that's pity the fool who has to use this next.
Gross.
Oh, I'm kidding. No one uses this microphone anymore. Just me. Hey, Jules.
Yeah.
You, I get to listen to you Monday through Wednesday here on O'Connor and Company, and I've noticed a trend, a certain pattern with you.
Oh, yes?
Whenever we have a legal analyst, Joe DeGeneva, lawyer, smart guy who knows the law on here, and we talk about these judges who are overstepping their constitutional role and trying to dictate to the executive branch what they can and can't do, that you often ask a question of that legal expert. Do you know what I'm heading toward here? We didn't discuss this ahead of time.
I know where you're going. Go ahead.
What do you usually ask? What do you usually like?
When is someone going to do something?
When someone gonna do something about these judges? Seriously, it's like
So annoying.
So I think you'll be happy to hear from Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, who I'm told by my friends in the media, like ABC News, and who covered this, that what you're about to hear from Speaker Mike Johnson is an existential threat to our republic and constitutes an absolute palpable constitutional crisis. Now, it's not, and I'll explain why it's not in a moment, but here's Speaker Johnson yesterday speaking to the problem that he sees right now in our federal courts.
We do have authority over the federal courts, as you know. We can eliminate an entire district court. We have power funding over the courts and all these other things. But desperate times call for desperate measures, and Congress is going to act. So stay tuned for that.
Now,
I'm so excited.
Did you just have a little moment?
I did.
You kind of lost your breath there, didn't you?
I love Johnson. Okay, let's go.
This is how it got set up by ABC News, by the way.
Getting pretty ugly. House Speaker Mike Johnson issuing an open threat now, saying that Congress has authority to...
An open
I love how
threat.
now it's getting bad, right? Yeah, now?
Yeah, it's getting ugly now.
Yeah.
So everybody who's screaming, you can't do that. That's an overreach. That bypasses the Constitution. The Congress can't meddle in the courts. Oh, could we just take a pause for a moment, please?
Yeah, now we need to take a pause. Right.
You know the Constitution about as well as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez knows about anything. The Constitution in Article 3 specifically gives judicial power and vests it in one Supreme Court. That's actually the language, one Supreme Court. And then in the same sentence of Article 3, it says, and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. So the only constitutional
Is the Supreme Court.
jurisdiction that is defined for the judicial branch is one Supreme Court. All these other courts are and also, by the way, you know how I know that's true? Because for the last 3 years, I've been hearing Democrats tell me that Congress should disband and reorient all of the federal courts because they don't like the decisions that are being made.
You know, Larry, it's almost like the founders saw this coming.
Yeah, almost.
Those are some smart guys.
Now, this may just be a threat. It may just be good for the press conference. But I do love, I love when Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, just, is just bloodthirsty.
Based. He's so great.
But he does it with a smile on his face, and he seems so unassuming. Let's listen to him again. The delivery is great.
We do have authority over the federal courts, as you know. We can eliminate an entire district court. We have powered funding over the courts and all these other things. But desperate times call for desperate measures, and Congress is going to act. So stay tuned for that.
Don't make me disband your federal court. That District 4, that's a real nice federal court district you got there. Would be a shame if something happened to it.
Johnson later said that he did not mean the comment as a threat, but was instead trying to illustrate we have broad scope of authority over the courts. I love
it was definitely a threat.
It absolutely was a threat, but it delivered in the most gentlemanly way.
Well, John Roberts, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, was, famously reprimanded Donald Trump for speculating as to whether some of these judges should be impeached for their conflicts of interest and corruption. It's like, we don't impeach judges because we don't like the decisions. Okay, that's fair. But how about we just disband the court completely?
Yeah.
Some of these federal judges walk around like they're, a four-star general at the Pentagon. They have their entourages, they have their staffs. Everyone stands for them when they enter the room. It's like, it's kind of good for them to recognize that they're actually part of the system. They're not separate, over and above, sanctimoniously dictating to the rest of us how we're supposed to operate. They actually are supposed to work within the confines of not just the Constitution, but also within the confines of the various branches of government.
That's right. Well, look, the American public has been patient. We have been watching this abuse of power for years now. And it's time for Congress to do something. Again, I'm giggling like a young child here. So excited about this. But again, I think it is exhausting. And certainly, I come on this show every Monday. We interview Judge Geneva, and I keep wondering when something is actually going to happen. It's incredibly frustrating to see the abuse of power from these lower courts. So I certainly hope Congress does do something. We'll watch.
Listen, and let's be clear here, because I would hate it if Nancy Pelosi were doing this because she didn't like some decision that was pro-life. I get it, okay? But this goes well beyond the opinion of a judge. I just want to be clear on that. And for people who are trying to say, oh, this is a dangerous thing and this is not so good, to just understand what happened here. You want to know who's at fault? It's not Donald Trump and it's not Speaker Mike Johnson. Judge James Boasberg.
Yes.
A lowest level you can get district judge attempted to order the President of the United States that he could no longer deport illegal immigrants that have been deemed terrorists in this country. He couldn't deport them, and he attempted to order a plane carrying those terrorists to turn around midair and come back to this country, despite an agreement made with a foreign nation by our commander-in-chief and top diplomat. You want to say that there's a dangerous precedent here with Mike Johnson threatening to disband these courts or defund these courts. You might want to talk to Judge Boasberg about this.
That's right. That's right.
That's the original sin here. For every action comes an equal and opposite reaction.
And again, not to mention the number of courts that willingly went along with these efforts to jail Trump, destroy his businesses, get him off of ballots, prevent him from being the nominee. I mean, these courts are out of control in this country.
Yeah. We would like our judges to act, what's the word I'm looking for? Judiciously.
WMAL, making sense of the news, live from...
Yesterday, President Trump, was this yesterday? This may have been the day before yesterday. This was the cabinet meeting. So this was the day before yesterday. I apologize. On Monday, during President Trump's second cabinet meeting, I know I get confused because he's been in office 2 months and he's already had 2 cabinet meetings, which is very weird. I mean,
Things move
based on
quickly.
the last president, I thought we only had a cabinet meeting once a year, and most of them were run by the first lady. That's what I'm used to.
Yep.
Prior to the cabinet meeting on Monday, President Trump was asked by a reporter. It's another thing that's confusing. Reporters are allowed into the room before the meeting begins, ask questions of the president, and the president answers them.
Yeah.
I'm
I know.
still sort of adjusting.
Yep.
He was asked about funding for NPR and PBS. Here's what he said.
Tomorrow, the subcommittee on DOGE is going to review funding for NPR and PBS. Now, every Republican president has always promised to take away this money that's going to these two public news outlets. If they're successful, I know Senator Kennedy has backed it, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Congress has backed it. Would you be interested in defunding and taking away taxpayer dollars to NPR and PBS?
Well, I would love to do that. I think it's very unfair. It's been very biased with the whole group. I mean, a whole group of them. And frankly, there's plenty of, look at all the media you have right now. There's plenty of coverage. I was from a different age, and they spend more money than any other network of its type ever conceived. So the kind of money that's being wasted, and it's a very biased view, you know that better than anybody. And I'd be honored to see it end. We're well covered. Look at all the people that we have here today. We're well covered, and we don't need it, and it's a waste of money. Especially, I don't even know what DOJ's recommendation is. I assume their recommendation is to close them up.
Well, after they hear all the testimony, I think they're going to make a decision relatively sooner than later.
Yeah.
But we'll see what that turns out.
I can't imagine that they wouldn't, because they have found so much waste, fraud, and abuse.
I love that I would be honored to defund NPR and PBS. Compare that to the way, God bless him, Mitt Romney in 2012 when he was running.
Yes.
He said, I love Big Bird. But, maybe we should look at it. It's like, no, I'd be honored.
Yes.
I want to pluck Big Bird.
And that is the only response. People are so tired of funding these left-wing
this might finally be it. And as the reporter said, Republican presidents have been promising to do this forever, and yet they always get cold feet. They always run for the hills when the rubber hits the road. I don't think so this time. I think we're really finally going to see defunding of NPR and PBS.
It is time. It's literally propaganda. It is an adjunct of the Democrat Party. And, I think a lot of people, when they see these victories from Republicans, say, let's go with the low-hanging fruit. Okay, let's just go with things we can do. Just something, right? Something immediately. This is the kind of thing that would go over so well with Americans who, and again, this is sort of in line with DOGE. This is wasteful taxpayer dollars being used to push a political narrative. That is not what taxpayer dollars should do.
And it's just archaic. It was created in the late 60s when there were only 3 television networks. People could barely, use their rabbit ears to get a fuzzy picture on television.
Yep.
And there was some concern about radio. I think there's plenty of options right now. Between radio itself is sort of.
But I have 700 channels on my TV. Yeah, I don't need.
Thank you. Yeah. We don't need it, and it looks like Trump is ready to go. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is the chair of the DOGE subcommittee, retweeted that little point there and said, Trump's right, NPR and PBS wasted millions of taxpayer dollars pushing Democrat talking points and alienating over half the country, which is true. But here's the even more important part. It's just unnecessary.
It is.
It's unnecessary. 16% of public broadcasting funding is from the federal government, and if they can't make up that 16%, they deserve to go out of business. It's 6:20.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 6:37 on O'Connor and Company. Thanks for tuning in here to a busy Wednesday morning. Coming up at 7:05, we're going to check in with Byron York, who's been all over this group chat nonsense. 8:05, we'll talk to the chairman of House Ways and Means, Jason Smith of Missouri. And at 8:35, Zach Smith from Heritage Foundation. Talk about some budget concerns for the District of Columbia. D.C.'s asking Congress for an extra $1 billion this year because things are going great in Washington. We'll get to all of that. It's Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning.
Julie, we're joined by Cal Thomas right now, as we often are every Wednesday when we're lucky. And Cal, we got a lot of things we want to get to, but I do want to discuss. We just mentioned the fact that Trump said that he'd be proud to lead the effort to defund NPR and PBS. He said, basically paraphrasing, "Drop dead, you smug subsidized snobs," I believe is how he put it. Do you think it's finally going to happen? I know you've been around for a while, and Republicans have been threatening this.
Well, Congress has to appropriate and de-appropriate the money, and the Senate right now is still sitting on their behinds with this House bill, the big, beautiful bill, as Trump puts it. So they act like molasses sometimes. So other presidents have tried it. Defunding Planned Parenthood is also on the list. A lot of people are for that. The government spends too much subsidizing all of these things, and we'll see. I'm not very optimistic, frankly.
Well, and while we're at it, we're doling out $2 trillion in taxpayer money to universities still, but not like, your local state university that, has trouble meeting its budget. We're talking about Harvard and Dartmouth. Why do we keep $2 trillion to these overfunded, well-endowed colleges?
Yeah, well, a lot of it is, they say, for research, but we don't know what kind of research, and does the research ever produce any benefits? And a lot of times, I've been told by people who work at these research facilities in the universities that they're required, basically, or they wink, they're told you better come out with the same conclusions the administration wants, or you don't get any more research money. So a lot of that is skewed in favor of an outcome. As you say, they have enormous endowments. They don't need the money. The tuition keeps going up every year, and then, of course, the administration, the Biden administration, complained about student loan fees and tried to get rid of them. I just think it would be better to let them stand or fall on their own, like any business. These universities are the only ones who get these kind of subsidies. McDonald's doesn't. No business does. Only the universities, and they're producing people who can't get jobs at the end of the degrees. Who wants to hire somebody in underwater basket weaving, as we used to say?
Yeah. I want to switch over, to this Jasmine Crockett comments that we heard over the weekend. She was at the Human Rights Campaign, one of their galas, and making fun of the Texas governor who's in a wheelchair because of a tragic accident when he was 26 years old, and he has never let that stop him. It's a really inspirational story, actually, Governor Abbott, what happened to him and his recovery and how he went on to this incredible career. And yet she makes this really nasty comment. She's tried to walk that back. Do you think she'll get away with this? Do you think she'll continue? I mean, she really is getting booked left and right. She's become the sort of voice of the Democrat Party. Do you think that this is a disaster for her, or will she just recover and move on?
No, I'm thinking of sending her a letter complimenting her and telling her to keep it up.
Yeah.
Keep it up, right. Along with all your other crazy people, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders. Just keep it up. This is the real Democrat Party. This is who they really are. This is what they're trying to cover up. So I'm for total transparency. And if you want to attack somebody who's in a wheelchair, if you want to attack somebody who has a mental challenge, go right ahead. I mean, it's nothing's going to happen to her. She's a member of a protected class, and the Democrats are going to do anything. They're not going to do anything. Well, it's the old double standard.
Well, what was also Meredith, Larry's wife Meredith, pointed out on Twitter last night. She said, what's even more disturbing is the laughter and applause from the Human Rights Campaign's audience at that event. They all thought it, and we've seen this with, the late night comedians encouraging and laughing about the violence against Tesla vehicles and Tesla dealerships. I mean, you're right. This is the new Democrat Party.
You see it on The View, too. Every time they say something outrageous, a crazy audience erupts in applause. That's right. I think we need to be encouraging more of this. The more you see it, the more they are out with their anger and attacks and, as you say, burning Tesla cars. Republicans ought to be jumping on this. This is your Democrat Party. Where are the denunciations that you require of us when somebody on our side says something that is outrageous? Let them talk. This is who they really are.
Cal, real fast, I think the story's on your radar that the huge numbers of American women now apparently are just giving up on marriage. They're just not even trying. What do you make of that? That's a concerning little demographic data point, isn't it?
Well, it is indeed, and I think one of the reasons is because they can't find guys like me. I mean, how many show tunes do guys know anymore? I mean,
that must be it.
Yeah, that must be it. No, I mean, you're right. This has major demographic implications. I remember something Muammar Gaddafi, head of Libya, said once that we're going to take over Europe without firing a shot. We're going to do it by demographics. We're going to have more kids than they do, and then but there are other reasons. I mean, look, kids, yes, are expensive, but at the end of your life, you just want to say I had a great career when I could have had children and grandchildren. I don't know. Sure, you got problems every now and then, but at the end, it turns out okay. And besides, you can make them do certain things by threatening to remove them from the will.
Yeah. I tried that one, and I realized they're all going to be making more money than me at that point anyway. So.
Yeah. Well, that's too
Cal,
bad. If you only had more talent, Larry, I mean, what can I say?
I've been hearing that my whole life. Thank you. What are you, a program director?
Well, no,
Thank
but
you,
I'm
Cal.
thinking of applying for the job. They seem to be opening up with some regularity.
Thank you, Cal. Good
Cal.
talking with you. It's 6:44.
Making sense of your world.
Talk radio is where I get all of my information.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news. Mark Levin, weekdays 6 till 9 on 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
Maryland Governor Wes Moore has a charming smile and looks good in a suit. And he's African American, so he's already a front runner for the nomination for president in 2028. But first he has to get through the tedious business of actually running Maryland, and apparently he's decided to run it into the ground because his new budget, along with the dominant Democrat majority in both chambers of the House legislature, they are passing a budget with $1.68 billion in new tax hikes. That includes $497 million in sales tax, $367 million in capital gains tax, $344 million in income tax, $158 million in the vehicle sales tax, $80 million from doubling vehicle title fees, and it goes on and on and on. And despite the fact that Democrats dominate the conversation in Annapolis, once in a while Republicans try to step up and say, excuse me, could I say something about this? And, well, listen to what happens. This is House Speaker Adrienne Jones going at it with Delegate Matthew Morgan out of St. Mary's County, who dares to just stand up and want to be heard. Take a listen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm standing and was recognized, I believe. So before we start moving the previous question, I know you don't want to have this debate.
Previous questions on the table.
No.
You got 4 of you standing up. The whip had asked. Okay.
So, Madam Speaker, we're just going to deny the debate of the majority.
Madam Speaker.
I'm not denying the debate. Parliamentarian, you know it better than anybody else.
Moving the previous question is a privileged motion above your debate.
Well, there you go. So we're moving the motion. There's no debate because it's a privileged motion. And here we go. We're now moving the question here. Let's just vote. No need for debate. And that's how things are done in Annapolis. And you could tell it sounded like some of the wisest people in the room there handling things, too.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Wes Moore is absolutely getting hammered on social media. There's multiple outlets, including the Freedom Caucus in Maryland, the Maryland Republican Party. They're really upping their game with memes and infographics. And so Wes Moore's response has been to take taxpayer dollars, Julie, and hire his own digital team.
Yep.
He's hired a new digital director, a national public relations director, all out of taxpayer dollars to pay for his new initiative on social media so he can get the message out and he can maintain his chances for the Democrat nomination.
That's right. Oh. And you think about this, I mean, oh my God, this list, Larry, of new taxes coming down the pike out of Maryland. I mean, people are going to leave that state.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
And you're going to have less, because of that, you'll have less revenue. And you know what they'll do? They'll raise taxes again.
I want to remind everybody, $1.68 billion in tax hikes in Maryland to offset a deficit. We just had the governor of Virginia on yesterday. They have a surplus.
That's right.
And they're trying to figure out how to get that money back to the Virginians' pockets. And more businesses and more people are moving to Virginia. What's the difference, Marylanders? What's the difference? Figure it out. It's 6:51.